over. It's over.
As he continues to back up, Megan. Well,
Yeah,
looks as if he's making a move of some sort.
Right, and it's an aggressive move what he's doing, but he can't go further back because we have other officers back there. Officers are trying to get him to de-escalate the situation, calm down, just get on your knees, drop the weapon. That's what they wanted to do, is drop the weapon. Unfortunately, he is not complying. I can see both of his hands. I'll just kind of show you what he's doing right now. He's not charging officers, so you can see he's pretty agitated. He's the one trying to yell the commands, but unfortunately for him, it does not work that way. He needs to drop that weapon, put your hands up, and comply to officers' demands. Let's just bring this to a peaceful end. Nobody wants to see anybody getting hurt here.
What is that, a stick or I can't figure out what that is. They're waving around at the officers. Whatever it is, officers are going to take it as a weapon. He's using it in a threatening manner towards them. And right now, he just listening to the instructions, but not complying with their demands to get down.
Well, in fact, my pilot, Aldo, just let me know right now he was able to get some of the information from the helicopter. That's a windshield wiper blade. So it may not seem like a weapon right now, but officers do not want to approach this individual who's extremely irate. So most likely in this situation, if he does not comply, they will use non-lethal force. But the last thing this individual wants is for a canine dog to be deployed on him as of right now. But it appears to be a windshield wiper blade.
Well, a wiper blade is not going to work with the canine officer if they do deploy that.
Right, but again, this guy's led police on a hours plus long chase. So again, anything that this guy has in his hand right now is considered a weapon. So again, we have those officers there in front, the canine unit. Megan tells us there are officers in the back on the south side of the 215 freeway, along with traffic stop there. So again, this back and forth between the suspect here and officers on scene continues. But again, we saw some aggressive posturing, some flexing by this guy here who appears to have a windshield wiper blade in his hand. He continues to try and attempt to bark orders at the officers there.
Right, and you can see how patient those officers are giving the commands, telling the subject to drop the weapon. They don't want to use any unnecessary force, but unfortunately, this guy is going to determine what's going to happen. He is in charge of what's going to happen as far as how are they going to handle this situation. He's agitated. He's not complying. You can see he has that windshield wiper blade in his hand. That's what units are telling us it is. He seems agitated there, not wearing any shoes. Possible stolen vehicle where this pursuit started out of the Morongo Valley area. Officers are using extreme patience and willingness to try to negotiate with this subject to get him to comply to their commands. But as of right now, we have a full freeway closure, 215 both directions near the Palm exit, where all lanes are closed until they can bring this to a peaceful ending.
Some odd posturing continues with this gentleman here. Again, this is the 215 over Palm Avenue. Megan, we've seen what he's looking at, but behind him, you said the road is closed off. What do they have there? Some kind of a barricade? How close are the CHP units?
Well, they do have CHP units back there. You can see those units. I don't want to lose the center of the screen in case if something happens. They are telling officers they're taking precaution right now. Watch your crossfire. They want to make sure no officers are in the crossfire. But you've got those two units up to the top of your screen blocking traffic. So he really can't run to the north because he's going to run into some officers. If he decides to try to run off of the freeway down that hill, there's officers waiting for him on, I don't know if that's Palm Avenue, but I know we're in the vicinity. That looks like to be the CHP helicopter. They are above, giving visual reference and bringing information, vital information down to the ground units. And then we have those three officers. These are the primary officers, the canine unit, just there waiting for the command as far as what the handler is going to have that dog do. Right now, they are wanting this subject to comply, get on your knees, drop that weapon. That's the number one thing they want him to do, is to drop the weapon. You can see officers on the right side of your screen along the 215. They're trying to get some of the cars out of this area. They want to eliminate too many people in this area, so they're going to get some of these cars out of here as soon as possible. We did see some media individuals on the ground, but they have since been relocated to a safer area. So it's a tense standoff here. Pursuit lasted well over an hour. The individual just pulled over along the 215 north of University near the Palm exit, came out of the vehicle very aggressively. As you can see his body language, he's arguing with officers, not complying with any of their commands.
Yeah, he looks around, he continues to flex and posture, if you will, but the CHP has plugged up every single hole here. from both sides of the 215, both ends of Palm. Again, this guy really has nowhere to go. But again, with that windshield wiper blade in hand, he continues to point, he continues to posture, he continues to tell officers, at least from what we can see, what his plan is, what he wants to do.
Right, and most likely they're giving him the ultimatum. You need to comply. This is over with. Otherwise, unfortunately, most likely we'll see some type of non-lethal force. But what I meant most likely, unlikely, is that dog. If they send that canine on this individual, that canine is trained to apprehend a suspect and bring that subject down so officers can get control of the individual. We hope not to see that. Those dog bites are nothing you want to deal with. And this officer right here looks like he has he may have a beanbag or something of that nature. It looks like that's what he has. So they may be trying to bring this to a conclusion here, and they may engage in some non-lethal force to get the subject to comply. But right now you can see he's still very aggravated as he's yelling at officers, pointing that windshield wiper.
And Megan, even though they have him boxed in, it's still a challenging situation in that right behind him you have other CHP units and you have other vehicles. So you don't really have if they needed to deploy, whether it's non-lethal force or something else, there is the chance that something could go past the suspect, and then you have other people behind them. They're back some distance, but still it's by no means a perfect situation, which is why they're trying to do everything they can. They figure they got him boxed in, time is on their side, hopefully his better judgment will take over.
As he continues to inch now to the edge of the overpass, and Megan, at least from my perspective,
be prepared to pull out, Megan.
Right there. You can see he's gonna. They're making their aggressive attack on him, pulling out here little. He's as they try to get the suspect to comply. I think they were using some non-lethal force. He's threatening to jump. It's not a long jump right there. You can see there's an incline there, but officers along that street right there below are waiting. We are pulling out here. We don't want to show anything too sensitive, but you can see as they start bringing this situation to a close, this individual now is threatening to jump off that overpass, and we can't speculate how far the drop is, but they want to bring it to a peaceful close. And you can see them starting to approach him from all angles, and we have that street below is blocked. So if he decides to jump, if he is injured, there we go, making contact. That officer snuck up on him, made contact. That was a great move. Well, they diverted his attention. The other officer snuck up behind him and was able to tackle him and bring him back down. So you can see, I got to give my hats off to CHP, and I believe those are the sheriffs down there. They did a great situation. They know everybody's going to critique them following this incident, and I got to tell you, these guys did a great job bringing this individual into custody and doing a great job. Nobody got hurt.
Absolutely. They exercised a lot of patience even from the moment he got out of the car and started reaching back in, and then hopped over a couple medians to get to this point. They took their time taking him into custody.
Which gave officers ample time to get in position. Again, this guy with that windshield wiper blade in his hand, posturing. And we've seen that right in the middle of the 215 southbound. They're posturing, again, barking orders at those officers. But again, the sneak attack, if you will, as this guy made his way over to the edge of that overpass. CHP officer from the back end there approached and was able to bring this to a safe conclusion.
A safe conclusion there. There were all sorts of things that could have happened. The fear also not only for others around, but the safety of the suspect as well. Right. He didn't jump over like he made some moves as though he might. They got him into custody, and this is all over after about an hour and a half into this pursuit, coming to a safe and peaceful conclusion. Again, our coverage continues. We've got another news update coming up here in about 30 minutes, plus come back for the NBC4 News at 11 a.m. for a full wrap-up of how everything unfolded.
Okay, so we're looking at the conclusion here of the suspect takedown here on the 215 southbound. Again, this all started with, you were on this from the get-go. Morongo Valley made its way on a number of freeways from the 60 and Diamond Bar to the 57 to the 10 freeway. And of course, the course of action here is always going back to the place that you're familiar with, and this seems to be the case here.
Absolutely. It's a pattern we've seen time and time again with these pursuit suspects going in circles, often going back to a place where they started. And that's what happened here. It was almost a full circle until he started heading north. And then his vehicle, we were wondering about the vehicle from the beginning, the black Toyota Camry that was reported stolen. It didn't appear as though it was going to withstand those high rates of speeds, and ultimately it became disabled, and that's when the suspect made a run for it.
Right, his attitude within the cab of the car there went from very agitated to cavalier, lighting a cigarette, throwing things out the window during the pursuit along the number of freeways and the stretch of freeway there, but again, ended up here on the 215 freeway, again, walked out of the car after the car was disabled with what appeared to be, we thought was a baseball bat at one point, a sword, but in fact, it turned out to be a windshield wiper blade.
A wiper blade. He was waving wildly towards the officers, but they didn't deploy that canine. They held back, they talked to him, and then as you mentioned, that one officer going in for the sneak attack and the takedown. And now they're attending to him as they get ready to take him into custody.
All right, 10-11 here on NBC4. Again, this safe conclusion to all of this. Traffic, however, backed up on the 215 in both directions in this part of town. But again, we will have a complete wrap of this chase and a lot of other news coming up on the NBC4 News at 11 a.m.
The chase is over, but the story is just beginning. Who was behind the wheel? Why?